Good evening, viewer. Welcome to our Glory Globe TV. Here's the breaking news. Yes, when the world's most powerful leaders descend on New Delhi this weekend to address the multiplied crisis facing the world, notably absent will be Chinese Xi Jinping, who has never missed a G20 summit since taking power in 2012. As is often the case with the Beijing's opaque decisions, making no explanation was given for Xi's apparent decision to skip a major global gathering on which China has placed a high priority in the past. Premier Li Qiang, the country's second-ranking leader, is expected to attend in Xi's place. Beijing reticence has invited a wide array of speculations and interpretations from Xi's potential health issues and domestic troubles at home to a snub at host country India, whose relations with China have frayed over an ongoing border dispute. But viewed from the lens of China's great power rivalry with the United States, analysts say Xi's expected no-show at the G20 could also signal his disillusion with the existing global systems of governance and structures he sees as too dominated by American influence. Instead, Xi may be prioritizing multilateral forums that fit into China's own vision for how the world should be governed, such as the recently concluded BRICS summit and the upcoming Belt and Road Forum. There may be an element of deliberate snuff to India, but it could also be a statement that there are different governance structures Xi Jinping thinks are important, and the G20 may not be one of them, said George Magnus, an economist and associate at the China Center at Oxford University. Xi may have wanted to make an example of the Indian G20 and say, "This is not something that I am gonna go to because I have got bigger fish to try." To some analysts, Xi's absence may mark a shift in how China views in G20, a premier global forum that brings together the world's leading advanced and emerging economies representing 80% of global GDP. China used to see the platform as a relatively neutral space for global governance and placed a high priority on G20 diplomacy, said Jack Warner, a research fellow at the Quincy Institute in Washington, D.C. Since its first Leaders Summit in 2008, China's top leader has always attended the gathering, including by video link during the COVID pandemic. And when China hosted its first G20 summit in 2016, it pulled out all the stops to make the event a success and showcase its growing clout on the world stage. Since then, however, relations between the world's two largest economies have been fraught with rising tensions and rivalry. Now China sees the G20 space as increasingly oriented towards the US and its agenda, which Xi Jinping regards as hostile to China, Warner said. About half of the group's members are US allies, which the Biden administration has rallied to take a tougher stance in countering China. Beijing is also increasingly viewing tensions with other members, such as the broader dispute with India through its difficult relationship with the United States, Warner said. Beijing has bristled at New Delhi's growing ties with Washington, especially its engagement in the Quad, a US-led security grouping decried by Beijing as an Indo-Pacific NATO. China sees India is the anti-China camp and therefore does not want to add value to a major international summit India is organizing, said Happy Mohan Jacob, a professor of international studies at New Delhi's Jawaharlal Nehru University. Behind the report, Glory Globe TV, Delhi, Bharat.